As you can see the output, we are able to get the same output as seen on the PPT. So movies of dollar name and movies of first column are one and the same. And when we give drop equal to false, the values in the column name are displayed in the form of a column rather than a row. We can try accessing elements in other positions too, or we can try accessing other variables too. So we have accessed name, so we will try accessing year. Can anyone give me a position? So we have selected values in first row, second column, then first two rows and second column. So you can give me a value for row and a value for column. It can be a single value, a range, or combine the data function, anything. 3, 4. Thanks, Simo. Three, 2. Thanks, Thanos. We will do it next. So we don't have more than two columns. We have only two columns, and hence when we searched for a value in the fourth column, it returns null. The value in the third row, second column is 1985. You can see it on the screen. Okay, let's look at other functions that can be applied to a data frame. So these are functions that we have already seen for lists. Dimension of movies will give the number of rows and number of columns in the variable movies. So the list in the variable movies contains 8 rows and 2 columns. So the number of rows in movies is 8 and the number of columns in movies is 2. Similarly, we can find out the names of the rows and columns in a particular data frame. So the data frame movies contains two columns, namely name and year, and the name function returns the names of both the columns. Row names of movies returns the names of the rows in the data frame movies. So the names 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 are created by RStudio for each row, and it displays it as the output. str of movies means structure of movies. So structure is an inbuilt function which displays the structure of the value that is given as argument to it. Since movies is a data frame, it gives the result as data frame with 8 observations of 2 variables. So here observations means rows. So 8 rows, variables means columns, and 2 columns. It also displays the details of each column. The first column is name, which is of character data type and contains the values Toy Story, Akira, The Breakfast Club, and so on. The second column is year, and it is of numeric data type. It contains the values 1995, 1998, 1985, 2011, 1936, and so on. So next we will see head and tail functions. So the head function by default returns the first 6 rows in a data frame. So here, as you can see on the screen, the first 6 rows are returned as output. Similarly, we can do for tail too. But before that, if you want to return any other number of rows other than 6, you can specify it using the variable n. So here we have given n equal to 8, and hence first 8 rows instead of first 6 rows are displayed. For tail of movies, it will happen from the bottom. So when I say head, it starts from the top, and when I say tail, it starts from the bottom. So 6 rows from the bottom are displayed. As you can see on the screen, values of rows from 8 to 3 are displayed. So if you want to display any number of rows other than 6, you can specify it as a value to the variable n. So here I have given 7, and hence 7 rows from the bottom are displayed. We can try executing them in RStudio. The output displayed on the screen is the same as that in the PPT. So I have given slightly different values than the ones used in the PPT, and we are able to get the correct outputs. So when I gave n equal to 7, the first 7 rows are displayed and for head, and when I gave n equal to 3 for tail, sorry, n equal to 4 for tail, the last 4 rows are displayed. So can anyone give me two different values for head and tail? Okay, Manisha has given 4 and 5. Thanks, Manisha. 4 for head. Okay, Thanos. 7 for tail. So we are able to see the first 4 rows for n equal to 4 of head and the last 5 values for n equal to 5 of tail. So Thanos 2 has given the same value as 4 for head. We will try 7 for tail. As you can see on the screen, the seven values from the bottom are displayed: 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, and 2. Now we will see how to add new columns. So we have a data frame with columns year. Let's add one more column called length to it. This is how the data frame will look like. We can also add new columns in a different way. So instead of using double quotes, we can use the cbind function. So cbind means column bind. So it will add a column to the data frame movies. Here, length is given after movies. Hence, the column length will be appended. That is, it will be added at last. Suppose length is given first and then movies in the argument list, then length will be prepended. That is, it will be added to the beginning. Let's try executing it in RStudio. So we are able to get the same output as we saw in the PPT. So we are able to get the same output as seen above. Let's try swapping the positions of length and movies. We can see the difference in outputs. So when I gave length as the second argument, it was added after year, but when length is given as the first argument, it is added before year. So this is how we can use the column bind function to append or prepend a column. So we can try adding a different column in a different position too. So I will create a column, then I want any one of you to suggest where to add it, either at the end or at the beginning. So Manisha is telling first column name is not there. No, Manisha, it's there. So when I use the function column bind of length comma movies, length is added to the beginning. So length came first and then came year. So the column name is there. To answer Maria's question, so we should give same number of entries, but if there are no entries, then RStudio will fill appropriate values in it. So let's try skipping a few values. So as you can see on the screen, I have written NA for two values and it has taken it as not applicable for both. When I don't give enough arguments, it returns an error. So we have to give the same number of values. So either you can give a value, and if there is no value, you can give NA. Yeah, you're welcome, Maria. Manisha, I hope your question is addressed. The column name is there.